Hello, I'm Mr. Pleasant Books. For this book talk, we'll be discussing the third book in the Wheel of Time series, The Dragon Reborn by Robert Jordan. In this book, we see Rand wanting to prove to himself that he is the Dragon Reborn. And the world kind of is already starting to accept it, but he wants to prove to himself that he's the Dragon Reborn. And one of the biggest ways that they say you can do that through the Carthurian cycle, the prophecies of the dragon, is to go to the Stone of Tyr and take hold of the sword that is not a sword. That's like a big sign that the dragon has been reborn. And so Rand decides to go and do that. And because he is ta'veren, he pulls Perrin and Mat along with him because they are also ta'veren, but he's the strongest of the ta'veren, and that draws them along to Tyr as well. As you also have Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elaine end up going to Tyr on their own quest, and so everybody is there when Rand finally gets to the stone and tries to draw the sword that is not a sword. And that's just the basic overview of what happens in this book. It's more or less just Rand trying to prove that he is the Dragon Reborn. So that's it for the non-spoilery stuff. If you haven't read it yet, from here forward, there's going to be spoilers. Just letting you know. Okay, back to the series. Now in this one, Rand, we get to see him going fully, or not fully insane, but much more crazy than normal. He just runs off on his own. He causes an earthquake in his camp and doesn't even realize he's doing it. He kills a group of people and cuts off their heads, and then after he's done that, he picks them up with one power, kneels them down in front of him with their severed heads in front of each body, and says this is how people are supposed to be around the Dragon Reborn. That's crazy, and you get to see that craziness come through. You also get to see that the craziness might also be a little bit of a benefit in helping him touch the one power. Because in the second book, The Great Hunt, and even the beginning of this, he's saying that he has trouble grasping onto the one power, that most of the time when he reaches out, all he gets is the taint from the Dark One that drives you mad. But you see, as he's slowly slipping into that madness, he doesn't have problems anymore. Like, he can just grab hold of it and make a flaming sword in his hand. Now when he gets to the Stone of Tyr, he fights Ishamael and Balal. He has no trouble grabbing the one power then. So maybe that insanity is helping him a little bit. And it would also explain why you don't hear of men who die screaming. Like you hear about the women. The women, 3 out of 4 women die screaming if they don't have someone to teach them control. Whereas the men, they just go insane and they're gentle, so maybe they also would die screaming, but you don't hear about that because they go crazy faster and gain that little bit of control that unfortunately helps them destroy and break everything around them. And it's just an idea and a theory I came up with in reading The Dragon Reborn this particular time. And Rand isn't the only one who is worried about going crazy. In this book, you have Perrin, who's worried that he's going to become a wolf instead of a man, and he has the example of Norm, who went full wolf, no longer a man, and just wants to run with the pack. But he has far more examples in Elias and from the wolves themselves, saying that men ran with us, not men who think they're wolves ran with us, and really, I just kind of got annoyed with Perrin in this book, with the fact that he's just denying and trying to not use this gift that he's been given. That helps him see better, helps him hear better, helps him smell better. His sense of smell is so good that he can sense the gray men, the assassins for the Dark One, that not even warders and Aes Sedai could sense. And he still is just trying to reject this wolf power that he has. And you just want to smack him in the side of the head and say, use it. Use this gift for good. Maybe if you had tried using it before, that Tinker Woman wouldn't have died in the Trolloc attack. Just stop being such a pansy and use this gift that you have been given. And that's really really what I say about Perrin in this book. I mean, I like Perrin in the series. I like him. He's a good man. He tries his hardest. He helps out as best he can. He does what he knows is right. But in this book, you just want to smack him in the side of the head and say, come on, use your power. Don't be so afraid of something there's not to be afraid about. Perrin. But then you also see the story of Egwene and Nynaeve and Elaine. They head back to the One Tower where Matt gets healed from his dagger. And so he's completely broken free from it and go on to live his life. Egwene and Elaine are both raised to accepted, same as Nynaeve. Armlin feels that these are the only people that she can trust, and so she sends them to hunt the Black Ajah, which leads them down to Tyr, where they're waiting for Rand, where the Black Ajah is waiting for Rand. And they meet the Maidens of the Spear, who they tell these Aiel that, hey, you're he who comes with the dawn is probably the Dragon Reborn, and he's headed to Tyr as well. Perrin frees one of the Aiel from a cage and tells him, hey, you want to head to Tyr as well. So everybody's just heading towards Tyr at this point. And just real quick, an aside about the Ter Angrial that raises from novice to accepted, sounds like torture. And I don't know what this originally was invented for, back in the Age of Legends, but it seems like you go in it, you leave behind family and friends to die, to be tortured, to be turned into evil and horror, and it just happens again and again and again. And this is what shows people are good enough to become accepted for the White Tower. No wonder there's so few Aes Sedai. This is a horrible thing to put people through. I'm just like, what is wrong with you? And it really shows that the Aes Sedai don't truly care about each other. That it's all about me and what works best for me. It just awful. I can't believe they put him through that. And and about the Stone of Tyr, I always myself, whenever I pictured the Stone of Tyr, for some reason I always pictured a dome that was reddish. And I don't know where I got that image from. Whenever I read the book, I always pictured a dome that was reddish. And yet this time, when I was reading it, I found out that it has battlements and that it's gray. I was very disappointed to learn that. I like the stone being a dome that's red. It just seems more poetic or nicer or more deadly and dangerous to have it already be red and smooth rounded stone that people have trouble climbing. It was just disappointing to read the book and find out that no, it's gray, it has battlements. Yeah, just sad. Then something also interesting that comes up as everyone's traveling to Tyr is that they go through several cities where the Forsaken have gained power, like Ilion, Camelin, and Tyr itself. And it's one of the interesting things, and the reason I bring this up is because it seems like wherever the Forsaken have taken over and been controlled, there's just a negative emotions that go with it. The people are downtrodden, they're hopeless, they think there's no reason for anything. Why go on? It's pointless. And you gotta wonder if that's why they ended up being called the Forsaken, because with all these negative emotions that they bring with them, that can affect an entire city. It's like being forsaken by the Creator, and maybe that's how they ended up getting that title for these 13 most powerful Aes Sedai. And I don't know if anywhere it says that or not, but it seems like that's just how it works with these Forsaken. They just drag you down simply by being in their presence. Almost like being in Padon Fane's presence and becoming more Shader Logothian. And they also seem to have dark hounds, which sound kind of terrifying. It's also, it seems like they can't be killed, pretty much, unless you have Balefire, which was something that was banned by both the light and the dark side during the War of Shadow. Balefire is just not something you play around with. Moraine even says that if it found out she knew it, she would be stilled, completely cut off from the One Power. It's that big of a deal. But it seems like that's the only thing that can put down a Darkhound. And she even uses it to kill Balal. So, and that's got to be known by people, and she never really gets in trouble for it, so maybe they're more willing to accept it now than they were 3,000 years ago. Finally, we come to Matt, the POV of Matt. My favorite character. He is funny, he's interesting, he brings a much needed sense of levity to the series. It took 3 books, but we finally get chapters from his point of view. That is just amazing. Like, from the moment that he wakes up in the White Tower and begins the healing process, he's trying to escape. Trying to just get out and see the world where he can drink wine, flirt with women, and gamble. That's all he wants to do. And when he sees how little money he has, he goes wandering around in the garden, meets Gawain and Galad as they're practicing to be swordsmen with the warders, and defeats both of them at the same time with the staff, showing just how good he is with the staff for one, and winning some coin, which is what the whole purpose of the fight was about. And he does it. He does it with arrogance, and he does it with pride, and the way he jokes and laughs, lies straight to the Aes Sedai's face, saying, "Oh, I'm going to stay here and heal." And then as soon as they've gone from the room, he's getting dressed, packing his stuff, and leaving. He's just trying to go. Matt, favorite character. Then he gets out there, and we find out that while he's first trying to escape, that his luck is peak. He wins at everything he's doing. There is no dice game that he can lose at during that first night he's free. We also learn that he's missing most of his memories from the last year and a half as he's been gone from Emonsfield. And so that might have something to do with his luck. It's probably more likely just has to do with the dagger taking control and eating away at his own consciousness. But for whatever reason, he's missing memories for the last year and a half. And he also seems to have a stronger connection to the old tongue now. Like, he speaks it more easily and more freely than he used to. But eventually he does get away with Tom. They head to Camelin to deliver a letter for Elaine. And then while they're in in Camelin, they find out that someone is trying to kill Elaine and Nynaeve and Egwene. And so they head to Tyr to save those 3. And this is also where you learn a bit more about just how young everybody is. Back when I first read this, I was 18, 19 myself, so it didn't really seem out of place, a lot of these things that they're doing and acting. But now that I'm in my 30s, I just realized how young all of these kids are. I know they're in their 20s, 18, and Egwene is 18, Nynaeve is 25, and she's the oldest of the Emonsfielders. Rand and Matt Perrin, all 20, and it explains why they keep doing the things that they do. They have no real life experience. They haven't had a chance to grow and gain wisdom. They're just hoping for the best, more or less. And Matt does the best, and mainly because of his luck. I mean, he managed to get some fireworks that helps him blow a hole in the wall of Tyr, so he can get in with the thief catcher to save the 3 girls and stop the Black Ajah and help Rand finally grasp the sword that is not a sword, Kalendor. And I'm again so happy they put Matt's perspective in this, because even though he's always saying, "I don't want to be a hero and I just want to be free and do what I do," he makes the seriousness that everybody else brings seem less. He makes you laugh as you read the series, and that really helps the series move along, especially with a 15-book series. So that's all I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to talk about. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, come back. If you didn't, sorry to hear that. Thanks for listening either way, and I hope you have a good night. Bye.